it has I or j or x or any variable equals to something. At the top it has n equals to something else. What does all of that mean? Firstly, the expression is going to contain a variable. It can be any expression. At the bottom, the I or the j or x or variable equals to, that's the first value, the first integer that we substitute into our expression to get our first term. At the top of sigma, the n denotes at what point we stop, or at what integer substitution we stop. Let us look at an example to illustrate. Let's say we have sigma of 3i minus 4 with I equals to 5 at the bottom of the sigma sign, and at the top n is equals to 9. That means that we are looking for the sum of 3i minus 4 with our a value having an I value of 5. That means that the first term is going to be 11. The second term is going to be when we substitute I equals to 6 in. So it will be 3 times 6 minus 4, which is equals to 14. The third term will be I is equals to 7 substituted in. 3 times 7 minus 4 is equals to 17. The next term we're going to substitute in is I is equals to 8. 3 times 8 minus 4 is going to equal 20. And the last term we substitute in is I is equals to 9. The reason that is our last term that we are substituting in is because at the top of the sigma sign we have n is equals to 9, which means that our last integer value we substitute in is 9. 3 times 9 minus 4 is going to equal 23. Now that is not the end of it. That is only our terms that we are looking for. We need to find the sum of. We can use the standard formula that we have used previously, that is Sn is equals to n over 2 times by 2a plus n minus 1 times the common difference. We are looking for the sum of how many terms? 11, 14, 17, 20, 23. We are looking for the sum of 5 terms, with our first term being 11 and our common difference being 3. If it is a lot more than this example here, that is, if maybe n was equals to 100, it would then become very difficult to write out each consecutive term and then find out how many different terms we are working with. There is an easy way to get that number of terms we are adding together. Take the n value minus the I value plus 1. For example, in this case we are adding together 5 terms. 9 minus 5 is 4, plus 1 is 5. We are looking for 5 terms. So we'll say S of 5 is equals to 5 over 2 times by 2a, or 2 times 11, our first term, plus 5 minus 1, n minus 1, times by common difference of 3, which gives us 5 over 2 times by 22 plus 12, which is 5 times 34 over 2, which is equals to 85. I want you to now have a go at the following. Press pause on your DVD player, and when you return we'll go through it together. The first one I gave you to do read sigma I is equal to negative 4, n is equal to 3 of 3i minus 1. Now I'm going to start all of these by writing out the first three terms. When I is equal to negative 4, the first term is going to be 3 multiplied by negative 4 minus 1, which is equal to negative 12, negative 1, which is negative 13. The next I value we're going to substitute in is negative 3 minus 1, which is equal to negative 9 minus 1, which is negative 10. The next value is going to be negative 2 minus 1, which is equal to negative 2 times 3 is negative 6, negative 1 is negative 7. So we can see that it's an arithmetic series. Also we can see that our common difference is equal to 3. Minus 10 minus minus 13 is equal to positive 3. Now we're looking for sigma, or sum of. That means we are going to use the formula Sn. For in arithmetic, Sn is equal to n over 2 multiplied by 2a plus n minus 1 times the difference. Now n is the number of terms. To get n, we're going to say 3 minus 4 plus 1. That's going to equal 3 minus 4 is 3 plus 4, which is 7, plus 1 is 8 terms. That means we are looking for the sum of 8 terms, which will be 8 over 2 multiplied by 2a, our a value is negative 13, plus 8 minus 1 times our common difference of 3. That's going to equal 4 multiplied by negative 26 plus 8 minus 1 is 7. 7 times 3 is 21. That's going to equal 4 multiplied by negative 26 plus 21 is equal to negative 5. 4 multiplied by negative 5 is equal to negative 20. I'm not going to do this for every question, but just for this first one, I'm going to check if that's correct. Because we're only going up to n is equal to 3, so that's an easy one to do. So our fourth term is going to be 3 multiplied by negative 1 minus 1, which is equal to negative 3 minus 1, which is negative 3 minus 1, is negative 4. Our next term is going to be 3 multiplied by 0 minus 1, which is equal to negative 1. 3 times by 1 is 3, minus 1 is equal to 2. 3 times 2 minus 1 is equal to 6 minus 1, which is 5. And lastly, we end off on 3 times 3 minus 1, which is equal to 9 minus 1, which is 8. That means this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 terms. N is equal to 8. Let us look at what the sum of them are. Minus 13 minus 10 is going to give us negative 23, negative 30, negative 34, negative 35, plus 2 is going to give me negative 33, plus 5 is going to give me negative 28, plus 8 is going to give me negative 20, which is the same answer that I got over there. Now I could have worked this out the long way, because it was a very small range. It was 8 terms that I needed to add together. Obviously, if this was n is equal to maybe 53, it would then be very difficult to do this, so we'd have to use the Sn formula. But I always want you to use the Sn formula. I just did this to illustrate what's happening. The next one I gave you to do, number 2, read sigma, where n is equal to 8, I is equal to 2, of 2i minus 3 times I minus 1. It's not a difficult one to do. My first term is going to be where I is equal to 2. So that's going to be 2 times 2, which is 4, minus 3 times 2 minus 1, which is equal to 4 minus 2 minus 1 is 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. My second term is going to be 2 times 3 minus 3, 3 minus 1, which is going to equal 2 times 3 is 6. 3 minus 1 is 2 times that is minus 6, which is equal to 0. The next term is going to be 2 times 4 minus 3 times 4 minus 1, which is equal to 2 times 4 is 8. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So that's 8 minus 9, which is equal to negative 1. So our first term is 1, our a value is 1 rather, and our common difference is 0 minus 1 is negative 1. The formula we're going to use is Sn is equal to n over 2 times by 2a minus n minus 1, 2a plus, n minus 1 times the common difference. How many terms are we looking for? We are looking for the sum of 8 minus 2 is 6 plus 1, 7. Sum of 7 terms, so that would be 7 over 2. 2a, which is 2 times 1, plus 7 minus 1 times the common difference of negative 1. That's going to give us 7 over 2. Let's just leave it as is. Open bracket, 2 times 1 is just 2. 7 minus 1 is 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. 2 minus 6 is negative 4. So we have 7 over 2 multiplied by negative 4 over 1. 2 into itself once, into there negative 2 times. So that gives us an answer of negative 14. Number 3 said sigma I is equal to 0 all the way up to n is equal to 0 of 2i minus 1. N is equal to 0 means that, and I is equal to 0 means that we're starting at 0 and we're ending at 0. So our first term is 2 multiplied by 0 minus 1, which is equal to negative 1. And we're stopping at n is equal to 0, so we only have one term. 0 minus 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, so we are looking for sum of 1 terms. We don't need to do this whole formula though. We only got one term. That means that that whole thing is equal to negative 1, and that is our answer. The fourth one I gave you to do said sum of where I is equal to 1, n is equal to 10 of 6i. That means that our first term a is going to equal 6 multiplied by a 1, which is equal to 6. Our second term is going to be 6 multiplied by 2, which is equal to 6 times 2 is 12. Our next term is going to be 6 multiplied by 3, which is going to give us 18. Our a value is 6 and our common difference is also 6. Sn, 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 plus 1 is 10. That means we are looking for the sum of 10 terms is equal to n over 2, which is 10 over 2, multiplied by 2a, which is 2 times 6, plus n minus 1 times the common difference of 6 times the common difference of 6 will give us the sum of 10 over 2 is 5, 2 times 6 is 12, 10 minus 1 is 9, 9 times 6 is 54. 54 plus 12 is 66, so we have 5 multiplied by 66, which is equal to 330. The sum of 10 of these terms is equal to 330. And that brings us to the end of the first number patterns tutorial. Go through the exercise that I left for you in the workbook before progressing on with the next tutorial. In the next tutorial, we will be looking at the geometric progression.